What would you do if you only had a year left to live? Would you squander the time you were given, or would you make every second count? That was the thought behind the now deleted channel Unus Annus, which made an impact on how I treated my life and pursued my goals, which was art. And yes, I learned the concept of memento mori from two YouTubers rather than from Marcus Aurelius. And as an artist, I was pretty lost no less than half a decade ago, giving up, taking my time for granted, and just squandering it, feeling as if I was lost in this endless void until...
Unus Annus, Unus Annus.
On the 13th of November, 2019, two YouTubers would embark on a journey that would change the course of history. Ominous warnings with the swirling imagery of black and white, thought-provoking questions and ideas regarding time and mortality, all led up to such a date where upon their first upload, it is revealed that they were cooking with sex toys? About 3 years ago, Unus Annus was born, an experimental YouTube project by Mark Fishback of Markiplier and Ethan of Crank Gameplays, where they would upload daily videos for a year and delete the channel entirely by the end of it. It included the themes of memento mori, the looming presence of death, and the realization of impermanence. It followed a cult-like theme with the black and white spiral imagery, suits, and serious nature, at least when it was first announced. Because in an odd twist, they were just uploading various random chicanery 90% of the time. So for an entire year, we, the audience, would be witness to the most insane activities these two would partake in. It was like watching videos made by Thor and Loki if they had a YouTube channel. From learning how mimes work to doing military parkour with James Charles of all people, trying to break watermelon with their thighs to nutball. The quality of the videos varied from simple home shenanigans to meeting professionals and understanding their trade. Getting pepper sprayed, bitten by canines, being taught how to backflip, even making homemade wine or growing bacteria. It was both strange and fun to witness this project in late 2019 and early 2020. But as we all know, in that dreadful year, things would go awry. Around early to mid-2020, due to COVID-19, a global lockdown was implemented. I at that time was confined to my parents' home, and the entire world would sadly come to a halt as everyone hunkered down to await news. Unus Annus, on the other hand, was facing a conundrum, contemplating on whether to halt the project, cancel it, or continue it despite the fact. And so, in spirit of the journey, Mark and Ethan would continue against all odds, changing up the type of content and adapting to the situation, such as an online collaboration with the moral implications of the trolley problem. It was inspiring to see the fortitude of creators and their indomitable will to persist despite all the doom and gloom, which in turn inspired me to do the same. Although my art was not in the field of video making, the core internal battle of pursuing a goal despite rocky circumstances was a relatable feeling since I was trying to get my way into the art world at that time, making my comic, improving my illustrations, becoming a concept artist for a Skyrim mod, all the while dealing with the online classes and the lockdown. Looking back, the influence these YouTubers had greatly contributed to my works, and for that I will forever appreciate the very existence of their project. Hell, there was even this one video I remember fondly of them going to a glassmaking shop while learning and demonstrating the trade, which actually got included in a small part of my comic where a blacksmith and a glassmaker were tasked to build a microscope. For a while, it felt like everything was going alright. Their uploads were consistent, the community was alive and thriving with art, music, and edits of Unus Annus. Even I had my own fan arts. Sprinkled into their crazy catalog of videos would be their ominous presence with their black and white suits that would remind us every now and then that all this fun and creativity will not last forever. Unus Annus was both a refuge and recharge, against a world that was unsure at that time. But as the months went on, eventually time would creep in. From all the ups and downs, trials and tribulations, Unus Annus was truly alive. But of course, the project wasn't called Unus Annus for nothing. November was approaching and time was almost up. Then videos like He Who Man and the camping series that were a step up in production began appearing. The growing popularity and quality made them question if they should keep the channel, as by near November of 2020, the channel had well over 1 million subscribers, with new viewers going in every day, catching up with the lore and all. But in the end, Mark, Ethan, Amy and the others were true to their word as creators, that the channel would be deleted. And so, from where I was from, on the 14th of November, after I took an exam, I was able to catch up with the last livestream of Unus Annus, where after rewatching old and significant videos with Mark, Ethan and the others, eventually came the time for things to be put to an end. And so finally, live on screen, that timer ticked down to 0. They all faced the audience, said their goodbyes, and pressed delete on their channel. The livestream abruptly cut, and that was the end of Unus Annus. It was definitely an experience to remember that, after an entire year following along the journey of 2 creators and more, collaborating with others, whether they were famous YouTubers, friends, family members, or people with their trades, all that was gone, intended to be kept in memory after the fact. Despite the majority of the videos being random, wacky, or even semi-educational, the initial serious thought regarding the marching of time and to choose whether to squander it or to make the most out of it hit me. The entire thing made me realize the impermanence of everything. Everything that I held dear, everything that inspired me, everything I was afraid of, just everything would eventually come and go, and that included both the good and the bad. Unus Annus taught me to cherish the time that I had, push through obstacles and persist no matter what to achieve my goals. In my perspective, I witnessed artists pursuing a goal, keeping their word, and when things weren't going their way, they adapted and overcame the situation, triumphing despite having to deal with great obstacles. But other than that, their collaboration with tradesmen, gymnasts, artists, friends, family, and other YouTubers also made me realize the importance of connecting with others. That experience with other people bore great substance and completed an experience to their fullest extent. I am making this video because in my art journey, Unus Annus impacted me in a way that taught me to persist and adapt, not be afraid to post whatever I want. Besides, I make fantasy, sci-fi comics and illustrations. They're pretty tame compared to sex toys or being a naked Neanderthal on camera. And most importantly, to keep my word, to keep my promises. Like how my illustrations, comics, and paintings were goals and ambitions that I promised my past self to achieve, and how obstacles would be placed in my way that would test my resolve and see if I would squander my time or make the most of it. And I know what I chose. So, this was my own perspective in remembering Unus Annus. I thought this would be an opportune and befitting moment that I just needed to capture, as this is the 2nd anniversary of it. I hope if you were one of the many people who participated in Unus Annus, that you also took away a positive lesson, or just something that made your life better, which I wager it did, one way or another. And with all that being said, I'm Carl Michael of Der Ritter Arts, illustrator and comic book creator, and if you are pursuing something of grandeur, be it hobby, art, or profession, no matter what happens, you will have lived a life without regret.